Hi Stuart. Lots going on with the team and everything, but just to talk about yourself for a moment, 600 must be really proud.
Yeah, really special. I think it's got a nice ring to it, getting the 600th Test wicket from the James Anderson end as well. You know, something pretty special about that. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, it felt a pretty important wicket in the day. We chatted at tea. Obviously, Trav was smashing the ball when we overpitched. Thanks, mate. So we had a little chat at tea. I was going to start at the far end and change tactics slightly. So for that to work straight away after tea was great. And a bit disappointed I didn't make another breakthrough. I just had it moving away nicely with the wind. A couple of close outside edges, but ultimately I think I got my 500th Test wicket here in front of no crowd, but my dad was here because he was match ref. So to get it felt very special to get a bit of an ovation today from the Old Trafford crowd who, I've always loved playing here. So to get my 600th in front of a full house in the first day of an Ashes Test is pretty memorable.
I was looking back on your quotes from that day when you got 500. You didn't seem at all sure you would get to 600. So, you've lived quite a journey since then, and to get here and be, I don't know, top of the Ashes wicket pile, you feel like you've got another few more in you yet?
Yeah, I'm bowling really nicely, I think. I didn't bowl great today, but it was felt pretty tough conditions out there today. But, throughout the series, I feel like I've kept running in. I feel physically good. Whenever Stokesy's thrown me the ball, I feel like I've tried to have a bit of an impact. So really enjoyed bowling at Headingley. I thought that was a fantastic Test match pitch. And, it's hard to judge a pitch here until you've seen both teams bowl and bat on it. But ultimately, the sun was out for quite a lot of the day, so I think we've battled really well to get 8 wickets today.
Yeah, and just with the match situation, I guess it felt like Ben chucked the ball to you because he wanted to push the game forward and move things on artificially almost because of the rain that's expected, and Australia have a very deep batting lineup. Does today look like not a best case scenario, but a pretty good day in terms of moving this game forward?
Yeah, it's quite hard to judge until we see what conditions are like. I think with the sun was out, it was quite noticeable the ball did quite a bit less. When we got a bit of cloud, it did move. So hopefully the clouds aren't too heavy over the next couple of days. Ultimately, the aim will be to get a first innings lead and set up a chase. Seems the forecast is a bit around at the weekend, isn't there? But you never quite know if it stays true or leaks through, really. So I think it's been a bit of a trademark of this team of bowling first and trying to set up wins. So I know it's a bit of a rarity here at Old Trafford, but it's I think any time you bowl first and take 8 wickets on day one, you're pretty chuffed.
Go George at the back, Stefan, and then Dan Bryan.
Hi Stuart. What does it tell us about your enthusiasm, I guess, for Test cricket in particular, that you're at the age where you could have gone into the commentary box or whatever, and presumably it doesn't get easier. You kind of reinvented yourself, learnt new skills to stay at this level?
I've definitely got an addiction to Test match cricket, an addiction to the competitive side of it, and ultimately Baz and Stokesy have what would be the right saying, sort of given me a new lease of life in a way. It's such a free changing room. It does feel in the nicest possible way that you're playing club cricket. But you are doing it at the highest level, and that's such a great place to be as a 37-year-old because you're turning up each day with it being really fun, really enjoyable. There's no fear of failure there. There's no judgment, and it's all about taking the game forward and moving the game forward. And I think that suits my style of play as a cricketer. So. Yeah, I mean, I owe a lot in the last sort of 14 months to the way Baz and Stokes have brought energy to the group, and I think I've been able to match that energy and move myself forward as a player. So I found it really enjoyable. I'd argue it's probably been the most enjoyable year of my whole Test career, which is an awesome thing to say at 30, 36, 37. And I think Jimmy would probably say the same at 45. So I think it's. I'm a very competitive person on the field, and I think that Australia bring the best out of me on that front because they're so competitive as a group as well. So it's great to have been involved in some brilliant battles throughout this summer with Australia, and to be honest, I've loved every moment of this series. It's been the series that just keeps on giving, really.
Is there any sense at all, with the way that England are kind of chasing the series, that the lost overs with the over rate are regrettable, or is there nothing that could be done, really? I know you lost some overs to the
Yeah, it's a
Sun,
tricky one. I think there was quite a lot. I think it got David Warner out, that long delay with the reflection of the sun on the. It was just a metal bar, I think, but that sort of took quite a bit of time. What did we lose? 7 overs in the day, which is, I think it's frustrating for the paying crowd a little bit. But ultimately, from us as a group, we didn't feel like we could do loads more. We probably fetched the ball from the boundary a bit more than we'd have wanted to today. But yeah, I mean, it's we're going to try and move the game forward pretty quickly from the style of play, and we just hope the Manchester weather leans on our side and we get 5 days cricket.
Just one each going forward, so I'll go Stefan and then Dan.
Stuart, after you got left out in the Caribbean, you were pretty honest with us, saying you thought that might have been the end. Since you've been recalled last summer, I don't think any other pace bowler in the world has taken as many Test wickets as you. Top of the pile in this series. Presumably those thoughts of the end have been banished for a little while now. Yeah,
I've been really fortunate that Stokesy sort of gave me the nod to come back last May, and I've thoroughly enjoyed every moment of that. And I think when I did get left out of the West Indies side, I made a commitment to myself that I wasn't, I used to tire myself out a little bit by planning too much and looking too far ahead and seeing, trying to judge where I'd get to. So I made a commitment to myself that I was just going to give my heart and soul to each game, whether that's for Notts or for England. Just enjoy it and then sign off the week with a couple of beers if you win a Test match and go again. So I think that's worked brilliantly for me under Stokesy and Baz with that mindset, and I think it's really suited my style of play, not focusing too far ahead. So ultimately, I never expected to be playing the fourth. I played against Ireland as well, so what's this, a 5th Test in a row in such a hectic summer. So I'm delighted with myself personally that I've been in a physical shape to be able to do that, and also mentally fresh to keep driving forward. So I said, sort of, if I'd have played 2 or 3 Ashes tests, I'd have been pretty happy. So to be playing my 4th and bowling pretty well, I'm delighted.
Down on the left here.
Hey Stuart. I think you played at Hoppers Crossing, very young age. But was it that sort of first got you up and about to play Australia, or what is it about Australia as opposed to anything else?
Yeah, I suppose I've got family history with the Ashes, with my dad's experience there, and I grew up completely obsessed with watching Ashes cricket, and I suppose that's why some of my heroes are, Warney, Glenn McGrath, a lot of the great Aussie team, because as a kid you are influenced by winning sides, and they're a huge winning side, but I think it also built up my steeliness to want to be a part of England teams that could win the Ashes as well, after going through a whole childhood without us lifting them. So I think I probably grew up with a bit more of an Australian mindset from watching the Australian team rather than a sort of an England mindset in the 90s, and so a lot of my heroes are them. And going to Hoppers Crossing was a great experience for me at 17. I opened the batting, opened the bowling, got used to the competitive side of the Australians, and loved the battle. So that was an amazing cricketing experience for me to go and experience in Victoria, and definitely set me up for a professional career for sure.
Press for time, so we'll go Will, Louis, and then we'll finish with Mel.
Stuart, Chris Wokes has got a habit of kind of flying under the radar a little bit. He's maybe done that again today because you're talking to us here. How good has he been these last 2 games, and how important were all those wickets he picked up today, especially that bang bang over where Johnny took that great catch.
Yeah, he was awesome today. He bowled fantastically, and he bowled a lot of his overs from a tough end where the wind was going across and in, so it was hard to get the ball to shape away. So, yeah, he's been exceptional since coming back at Leeds. We all know that what a talent Chris Woakes has been and what a servant he's been for English cricket. He's I think he's won the 50 over World Cup, the T20 World Cup, bowled some very pressurised balls in those tournaments, and continues to deliver for us when needed in Test match cricket as well. He's a pleasure to play with, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think England Test side in England with Chris Woakes in is a pretty formidable side. So he was exceptional today. He deserves 5 in the morning, hopefully, and continues to impress in an England shirt, and it's a pleasure to play with him.
Louis on this side.
Stuart, you mentioned you've been inspired by Australian aggression when you were a kid. Were you surprised that they picked 8 batters for this test? Did you kind of take that as a defensive kind of option?
No, not a defensive option. I think obviously they probably want to bat as long as they can, knowing that a draw's good enough for them in this game to retain the Ashes. And ultimately, when you've got 2 all-rounders that you both deserve to be in the team, it's a tricky decision. But Old Trafford, historically, generally is a place that you probably would want a spinner. Saw Moeen bowled great today and bowled some really wicket-taking deliveries, and we saw a couple spin to the lefty as well. So. That's something that I'm sure worried them a little bit when they saw, but ultimately, it looks a very dangerous team. They've got 300 runs on the board with their batting group, and we've still got 12 wickets to get in the test. So it's been a great battle so far, and we can judge that sort of selection once 2 innings have gone.
Mel Farrell on this side.
Stuart, for a lot of people, if they think of wickets that you've taken in the past, that probably involves a seam and swing, typical Stuart Broad stuff. Is there any irony in the fact you're getting Travis on the hook and caught out in the deep? And is that just a sign of the plans that have kind of been coming into place? And are you enjoying the short pitch stuff?
Yeah, definitely bowled more bounce in the last 14 months than I have done in the previous 14 years, I think. So it's certainly been a plan of the captain that he wants to go down that route at times. And, it's something I've done for knots on occasions, and do enjoy going to that style of bowling. I think my height helps with that. I don't have to dig the ball in too short. Actually there was a clip came up in the changing room of like my 100th, 200th, 300th. I think there was caught long on, caught mid on, caught mid wicket. So it's not the old classical dismissal. So, the good thing is it was caught by our leading catcher ever at Joe Root, so I can tell my grandkids it was first slip.
Very good. Mike, last one, and we'll do.
Everyone's had their say about Johnny Bairstow this summer, Stu, but then he goes and pulls out a catch as a series contender like that. The team must be really pleased for him after all the flack he's taken.
Yeah, you could see the group get around him when that catch went in, actually, and his celebration. He's been an integral part of Baz's style throughout the 14 months. He's been someone who's led that as a group. So it was great to see him playing with a big smile on his face. And I always think with Johnny, if he gains confidence of taking an unbelievable catch like that, and everyone gets around him, and you saw the crowd like a great ovation when he took the catch, that generally brings in runs as well. So that's a good thing for us as a team, because Johnny Bairstow batting 7. Is he batting 7? Yeah, Johnny Bairstow batting 7. Is a pretty exciting prospect for us as a team.